Now I can tell you I've broken at least 2 of the guidelines that I gave you, which is very common. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that breaking the guidelines is what makes a piece interesting. If you break most of the guidelines, however, it probably means that you don't have a coherent piece of music, at least at this stage as a composer. But it is not uncommon to break less than half of these guidelines. Let's see how many guidelines that I followed. Does it have mostly steps? No, it does not. I have quite a few leaps in it. Mostly leaps, actually. There are leaps here, 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 and here. And we have steps only here, 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 and here. So there are more leaps than there are steps. All right, let's take a look at the next rule. Are the leaps countered by a step? Yes, for the most part. For example, here, here, and here. When I don't, it has more to do with the way I section the music, which I will talk about soon. Okay, are there direction changes? Yes, most certainly. In fact, almost every other note changes direction. So I most certainly followed that rule. Are there a variety of notes values with there being mostly medium to short notes? Yes, again, the majority of the notes here are short. We have notes that take up 1 box length. We have notes that take up 2 box lengths. And here's one with 3, here's one with 5, and here's one with 6. Do I begin mostly with short notes and end with long notes? Yes, to a certain extent. If we divide the music in half, there is far more movement on the first half than there is on the second half. Okay, is it repetitive in a varied manner? Yes, very, very much so. This short idea right here is varied here and here, which is very good considering the length of this piece. The first time it goes red up to red, pink, red, green. The second time I expand it going red up to red, red, pink, red, yellow, yellow. The only real difference is I repeat the second note here, and instead of moving to the green, I overshoot it and land on the yellow. Then I repeat that. The last time compresses the idea. It starts out identical to the first idea, but then moves up instead of down. Are there clear sections? Yes. This is a clear idea, and this is a clear idea, and this is a clear idea. Notice how Songmaker has made this part here slightly shaded. They do this to show where music naturally sections off. Here in this spot that is not shaded, we typically have a section. Even this idea which goes further, we can divide it so that the shaded portion is a section, and then this non-shaded portion is a section as well. Let's very quickly take a look at another melody. Now, typically I would like to show something a little bit more modern because I'm a big fan of new music, but we have copyright laws to keep in mind, and this piece I'm going to show you is in public domain. Also, it is a crafty, simple little melody that I like using as an example anyway. It is Ode to Joy by Beethoven. All right, let's take a look at it from the standpoint of the guidelines that we have. Okay, first, it most certainly has steps. In fact, it has all steps from beginning to end. So we follow that rule. There are no leaps, so there is no need to counter the leap by a step. So we follow that rule. The next rule, the contour, is very clear. It almost looks like waves on the screen, like ocean waves. So it most certainly changes direction. All right, next rule, it most certainly has medium to short rhythmic values, although there isn't much in terms of variety of note lengths. The places that he puts note length variety is very important for the way he sections off the music, and I'll describe that here in a moment. So it begins with short note values and ends with relatively long note values. Let me emphasize relatively. So every note has the length of 2 boxes until we get to the end of the idea here and here, where the notes have 4 box lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is repetitive in a varied manner. Let me show you what I mean here. This section has the same melody direction as this section. The difference is this part is simply lower than the first part. This section is almost like a reverse extension of this part. This part steps up twice, while this part over here steps down 4 times. Does it have clear sections? Most certainly. Each of these sections have a clear and concise melodic shape. Here it repeats and steps up. Here it steps down. Here it repeats and steps up. Here it steps down and repeats. All right, that is all of the examples I have for you. I have guidelines in list form in your handout for today. So all the guidelines that we covered today will be in your handout. Now, it might sound like I am repeatedly contradicting myself with all of these times that I've broken the rules and all of these times that I've shown you an example that has some rules that are broken. But keep in mind that music is not about following a set of rules. If it were, computers would be making music that is mainstream long ago. Creativity is a matter of balancing, following rules, and breaking rules. So you have to balance between the two. If there is a set of rules that you are breaking, think about the reasoning behind why breaking that rule is more interesting. Your assignment for today is to make 2 or 3 pieces in SongMaker using my compositional tips that I gave you today. And I want you to make at least one of them so that the notes always fall at the beginning of these bold lines. Do this even if it breaks the guideline where I say to vary the rhythm. Then make at least one where you are not so worried about where the notes fall, but more worried about having a variety in rhythm. I say this because the example that I made is going to be very difficult for a beginner to notate with the rhythms I used. I want at least one of your compositions to have a rhythm that is going to be easier for you to notate, and I will cover how to notate both the simple and the difficult rhythms, but I want you to have a simple rhythmic pattern to notate in case the more complicated example is beyond your ability for now. Also, don't forget to save your project. Make sure you save it. And make sure you send a link of your composition to yourself so that you can open it later. Have fun, and I will see you in lesson 3.